Hello, hello, and welcome to the Satellite Spotlight. I am Molly Pass with Moontrip Productions, and today I'm here with the bassist of Pure Ed. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And you may know Pure Ed from their songs Goldfish and Work Sucks. They're my two favorites. But I know that you guys have done a lot of really interesting things. I would love to talk about the Viper Room. We got live album lore. We've got, UK tour lore. I mean, really, I guess, how did you get into the band, and how long have you been gigging with them?
I met Jason Cope, the guitarist and singer, when I was on tour with another band, and he started bringing me demos that his band was recording. And early on, the quality of the demos was very bad, but the qualities of the performance were also very bad. So there was a nice fit.
Oh yeah, at least it was meshing well.
Exactly. And over time, the quality of the performances and the songs got to be really good, but the quality of the demos was not getting any better. So I set him up with a producer in Atlanta, and he was going to bring his band up here to record an album. And as happens sometimes with bands, the members maybe weren't around by the time the recording session hit, and he asked me if I would play bass for him. And I believe shortly after that, he lost his drummer, and he was going to cancel the recording session, so I got a studio drummer to come in and fill in with him. And from that point on, I've pretty much played with him, I think, every show he's done since then.
And what was your favorite of those shows, would you say? Or just an era of tour, perhaps?
It's hard to say which one was a favorite, because I liked so many shows for so many different reasons.
Fair.
I will say getting an opportunity to tour in the UK with the band was amazing, and we played some great shows over there. I played there before with other bands, but it was the first time I went to some cities. For example, we played a place in a city called Guildford, and Jason had just been on the cover of a magazine, and the band that we were playing with was also in that magazine. So they thought, it was an American magazine, and they thought that we were a really famous band from the United States.
Heck yeah.
So they promoted this show really heavily. They hired a photographer to take pictures of people with us, and it was packed. It was probably the biggest show we've ever done. And then we played horribly.
As happens sometimes in bands, yeah.
But it was still a lot of fun, and we had some great shows on that tour as well. In fact, there's a live video from, the audio from that video is from one of those shows, and the footage is just us goofing off in the UK.
Hey, and I love that. I think that some of the most fun times are really those weird in-between moments,
Yes.
Rather than the performance itself, but more so the bond with the band. So, I mean, what are you guys' influences in terms of your sound and just your vibe overall?
Well, Pure Ed as a whole is very influenced by Nirvana. Maybe a little too influenced by Nirvana at times. But each of us have our own individual influences also, and hopefully those influences color the sound a little bit so we don't sound exactly like Nirvana.
Yes, and that's our goal, is to be different enough to keep being allowed to perform is really my goal as an artist. And as a documentarian, so many people have shows like this, but this is mine. So, hey, we all do our own thing in our own way. It's like I have a late night show in the middle of the day. But before I get to the new album, I did hear that you guys were going to release an album a few years ago with a twist of lemon, but whatever happened to With a Twist of Lemon?
We recorded almost the entire album, and we got to a point where we were listening back to everything and we realized how bad it was.
Oh.
And that's not a realization that you want to have ever, but it's a much better realization to have while you're still recording than after you've released it.
To just really full send it.
So we kind of threw most of it out. We kept one song that we actually recorded from that album called Falling Upstairs.
And I've been there too many times, honestly.
Yes, I think a lot of us have been.
And I think that relatability is probably why Work Sucks is you guys' top song. Just because I think there is that element, and honestly, this is part of what people like about Nirvana in that 90s grunge era too, is like, we're all complaining about the same things at the end of the day, and dang it, if I don't fall up the stairs sometimes, and you know what? Sometimes only my goldfish understands me. I really do get it. And so that is the new album, yes, Goldfish. I have a Pure Ed sticker. I'm representing. You can see my Pure Ed sticker. They can't see it.
It's not in the shot, but it is there.
It's I trust us. But so tell us about the new album, the new stuff, and kind of what you would say colors this sound that people are about to hear.
Well, like I said, we have one song that we just took from the recording sessions of With a Twist of Lemon, so it's straight from that album. It's the one that wasn't terrible. And I wrote a lot of new stuff because Jason was going through a period of writer's block when we scrapped that album.
Which is fair.
Yeah,
you know.
I think he felt a little bit less self-confident for a minute. So we took some songs that he had been working on and we finished those up, and I brought in some new material. And Goldfish, which you just mentioned, was a very old song that I had had lying around that didn't really fit in any of the other projects that I had been working on. So we brought it in for Pure Ed, and so far it's gotten a great response.
Yeah, and it is in fact my sticker. I guess I can reach out to the powers that be, as you know, and get a digital copy of that sticker so that I can put it up.
Yes.
But it is a goldfish wrapping Pure Ed on my water bottle. So I guess tell me about Goldfish, since it was an older project for you. Like, what inspired you in that moment? I mean, other than feeling like maybe you and the fish were the only people who knew what was going on.
The song Goldfish, I guess, is about that feeling that sometimes you get, especially late at night when you're by yourself, that maybe nobody in the world understands you.
Yeah, and we all feel a bit like a weird creep when the night hours hit, for sure.
And so the chorus of that song, No One But My Fish Can Understand, is just that feeling that you have of just being kind of alone, maybe with a fish.
Yeah, alone or less alone, but still alone-ish. And I think that, again, like between Work Sucks and Goldfish, I think you guys are speaking to some real feelings. And so I guess in terms of the album overall, is there anything else that you want to mention in terms of like tone or kind of style? Like, what can people expect from this album?
Well, it's a little bit less like Nirvana than our first album and several of our EPs have been. We've tried to bring in new influences, and I'm happy with the way things went. We have a couple more singles that are coming out, and I just hope that they are as well received as Goldfish has been so far. But it's still a very grungy kind of garage rock album.
I love that.
So it still feels like Pure Ed, just maybe a less Nirvana version of Pure Ed.
It's Pure Ed for the year of our Lord 2025. We're in a new era of Pure Ed right now. So I kind of always like to close out with, you know, what advice do you have for the people, and maybe people who are feeling a little creepy and alone with their goldfish as well. What would you say to maybe a version of yourself that could benefit from some advice in this moment? As a maybe struggling musician or artist or somebody who's kind of feeling those feels that we sing about a lot.
I think the advice that I would give to my former self as a younger teenager would be, nobody cares, man.
Yeah, but we mean that positively.
Nobody really is going to be bothered by the fact that you're weird.
Yeah.
And if they are bothered by the fact that you're weird, you really don't need that kind of thing in your life.
They're weird for that, if they're being weird about you being weird. I think that's kind of one of our favorite songs is Creep. Because I think, and you know, our other friends here as well, I think there's so many times where it does feel like maybe nobody in the world understands. And I think that the beauty of albums like this, music like this, is that we can kind of stick together in those tough times. And I always say the most punk thing you can be is optimistic, especially right now. And so, you know, hopefully this new album helps people get through it, you know, when we're going through it. Yeah, so any last thoughts?
Our new album will be called Big Dreams from a Little Bowl. It is coming out on vinyl in March.
And where can people keep up with Pure Ed? Where can people buy stuff or just follow you?
We have a Facebook page that somebody maintains. We have an Instagram page, and we have a website that I think is pureedband.com. You can tell how often I go there.
Heck yeah. Well, whatever the website is, we will put all of those links in the description for you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.